Before we get into that, though, before we kick it all off, last time we talked, I shared my experience at the Jason Isbell concert at the Salt Shed in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you just got to see Jason Isbell for the first time. So what was that like?
Well, it was fantastic, and it was fantastic for a couple reasons. And I feel like this is like Jason's brag day on the show, and I don't mean it to sound that way, but thinking back to what you said about your experience watching Isbell, and we talked specifically last time around about how you saw him or thought he looked sad after he was playing, particularly Cover Me Up and When We Were Vampires, which he also played at our show. Obviously in light of his recent announcement of divorce from Amanda Shires. I almost got the exact opposite experience because he was completely into the show. After every song and the applause started, he smiled and thanked the crowd and waved. And he was it seemed like he had a lot of gratitude for everybody who was there. He seemed like he was in a really good mood. It was Oscar night when that happened, and he didn't do as much back and forth banter. Karen has seen him several times, and she said he didn't do as much storytelling or back and forth banter as he normally does. But there was, he at one point he said, I think there's a guy in the front row watching the Oscars, and he wasn't even in the movie nominated for Best Picture. So nice. that was kind of funny. But I was absolutely blown away. The band was amazing. He was amazing. They sounded great. They played everything I wanted them to play. He didn't play any of his Drive-By Trucker stuff, which I know everybody was disappointed in. But he played my favorite song, which is Super 8, and then he played all the others that you would expect him to play. And it was just a great show. It really was a great show. Now, the bragging part, Karen and I thought we had good seats. We thought we had second row seats. Yeah, row B at the Victory Theater in Evansville is the first row. So we were on the front damn row, and I mean, I could have thrown a paper wad and hit him in the face, and it was just awesome being up that close. So
that's really awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And, back to my experience when, seeing him just a couple of weeks ago, I don't know that he looked sad, but he definitely looked emotional,
Sure.
And he has, I don't know if you follow him on Threads, but he posted something, and I don't know if it was the same day as your show or right around there, but he posted something on Threads and said that, he's really vulnerable right now and really fragile. That's the word that he used. And, but every night he goes out and plays, he feels like everybody is wrapping their arms around him and, just really there to help him get through this. Yeah. And, okay, I'm a brag right now. So I replied to his thread and said, it's our turn to, care for you, or whatever I don't recall my exact words, but I said, it's our turn to support you,
right?
As a way of saying thank you for all these years that your music helped us get through, rough times or whatever. And what I wrote was way more eloquent than what I just, what I just muttered. But I got like several hundred likes on my reply, including from Mr. Isbell himself.
Very nice.
So, but I meant it though.
Yeah.
Like I didn't do it for the likes. Like I really meant it. And I know so many people who turned their lives around after hearing Jason Isbell for the first time.
Well, I will say this, seeing him live for the first time, I'm sure being up close had a lot to do with it, but easily top 2 or 3 concerts I've ever seen. I was just really blown away. It was a great show. And Joan Shelley, who is a folk artist from here in Louisville, opened up for him. Her husband, Nathan, I can't remember Nathan's last name, but he plays a vicious guitar. Okay. And they were fantastic. It was just a really all around a good night. And he was, I would definitely say he was emotional in the songs that you would expect him to be emotional in, but he seemed very happy on stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was smiling a lot. He was smiling after every song. He was very thankful for the crowd. I think, he's probably in a good mood because it was Oscar night. He mentioned that the people in Evansville were really good to him and made a big cake, and they had cake before the show that was awesome. And so he seemed like he was just in a really good mood and really into it. So that made it all the better.
Was the cake just because it was Oscar night?
I don't know. He just mentioned, yeah, they made us a cake and it was really good. Normally they bring you cake and it's just kind of, and this one was good cake and we liked the cake. And so, it was fun. And, the 400 unit, God damn, those folks, they're good. They're just good.
I mean, Sadler is awesome. Chad Gamble, phenomenal. But I have a special place in my heart for Derry DeBorja. He is a former member of Sunvolt.
Oh, really?
So I don't
think I knew that.
Yeah, I saw him so many times with Sunvolt.
Nice.
And then when I met Derry, which just so happens to be the same night that I met my husband, Tom, I told him, like, I can't believe I'm seeing you again with a different band and blah, 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 and Sunvolt. And this was after I had probably 24 beers.
Sure.
So, who knows what else I said. But anyway, I do love me some Derry DeBorja.
Well, we were stationed right in front of him. So that was probably, there wasn't a negative about the evening, but if there was something that was slightly disappointing, maybe it was that we couldn't see the whole band because we were right in front of his keys. Right. So we couldn't see the drums. We didn't see everybody, but I'm not complaining because we were so lucky to be where we were. And again, it was such a great show. So that was awesome. That was just fun.
I'm glad you guys got to see your first Isbell show, and you and Karen got to experience it together.
Yeah. And Monday we were drag assing. Oh man, that was rough. It's a little over 2-hour drive to Evansville, and we came back right after the show, and I get up early to go to work on Mondays. Yeah. That was terrible. Anyway.